Hi, it's Nicola Bird here. In today's video, you haven't actually got my face this week. You're just going to have my hands because I wanted to use this prop. I know I love using props in my videos to show you something that I've been seeing in myself, my clients, people around me recently. So it looks to us like if you imagine this board here, like all these letters on it are a mixture of thoughts and beliefs and actions and behaviors and understandings and misunderstandings, kind of like a mishmash of our experience, right? So it's all jumbled up. We can't really make sense of it. When we feel anxious or confused or we're operating from misunderstanding, basically, then it's all jumbled. There's no sense to be made. Like you can't even tell one thought from another. Right? Sometimes there's just so many of them, like on this top row here, that they're just all feel like they're overlapping each other, and the experience is confusion. Now, what happens as we start to understand how our experience is created, who and what we are before experience even occurs, right? Our true nature, who we are underneath all of that. What starts to happen is that traditionally what we've done with experiences like anxiety or panic, we try and, shuffle around these letters, right? Like to try and change them so that they start to look different, right? So the content of our thinking is different. Or we might try meditation to try and still all these thoughts that, if you imagine, these are all kind of moving around and constantly changing. But there's a way that's so much simpler, a direction for us to look in that's so much simpler. And it's this, it's just we start to notice, our teachers might point us towards the light that's underneath here. Right? This light that's glowing behind all of these letters. Before any of the letters got put on, there's just light. And then we get so absorbed with this moving, changing mass of letters, of beliefs, of thoughts, of understanding, of misunderstanding, of how life should be. If these were words, they'd say should, have to, must, got to control this, must change that, have to have this be different, right? And we're so caught up with trying to manage the letters that we forget about the light. It seems to me when you look into the eyes of a baby, all they know is the light. But over time, all these letters and these ideas and these standards we have to live up to and expectations and what we're up to and why we're up to it and what we're not up to and why we're not up to that, like all of those ideas come in and the light just gets covered over. Now, what we do in the work that I do with my clients is we start to look at all of the misunderstandings that are getting in the way of the light. And here's what starts to happen. So we might understand something about that we don't have to believe our thinking. That our thinking can say one thing 1 minute and the next thing the next. So it might say, oh, that's a really good idea. And then 2 days later, it might say, that's a really bad idea. And we start to see that our thinking can't be trusted, that our thinking isn't reporting truth. And a little bit of misunderstanding falls away. And then we might start to see for ourselves that more deeply what I just pointed to, so that thought is always changing and it doesn't say anything about me or my circumstances, right? The fact that I think something's a good idea and a bad thing, a bad thing 2 days later, doesn't mean that I'm inconsistent, I'm unstable, I should know better, I should be behaving differently. We start to see that thought changes all the time, and that says nothing about us, it's just the way of it. And another piece falls away. We might hear a story of somebody sharing their experience of how they experienced insight for themselves, and we can't quite put our finger on it. But a whole bunch of thinking we had just dissolves away in a moment, all of a sudden. We can't even really explain it. We were just listening to this person and something happened inside of us. And a whole bunch of misunderstanding fell away. We see there's more light. And then we might just start to see something about how our level of understanding, what we understand to be true about how life works, is the only thing that's creating the life that looks like it's appearing in front of our eyes right now. That might make sense to you right now, it might not. But if we see that the only reason it looks like the world is full of scary things is because my understanding of myself is that I am this person who's anxious and insecure and can't cope and can get buffeted about and is totally needs to control everything in order to be okay. And that's the only thing that's creating this experience of a world where there are things to control and people who seem to destabilize us. We start to see that the outside world is a reflection of our inside understanding. And some more of the pieces that in front of the light fall away. Some of them ping off, right? Some of them just dissolve into the background. And we're left with more light, more space. And it seems to me that at some point we get more interested in the light and we see something about the nature of the light and we start to see that the light is not impacted by whatever letters or words appear in it. It's not, it can't be, right? This light hasn't changed since the beginning of this video to now. The light has remained constant. These have changed, these have shifted around, some of them have gone, some of them might even come back, right? Oh, the props are letting me down. Some of them might come back. So sometimes this is really crowded, sometimes it's really empty. It makes no difference to this light. Now, a turning point for my clients is when they get more interested in the light and we don't need this to change anymore, because we can see it's got nothing to do with the light. And the light is our peace of mind. It is our true nature. And as we get less interested in all these thoughts and ideas and beliefs and what's right and what's wrong and what we should do and what we need to do in order that other people love us, what we need to do so that we can make more money, what we need to do so that we can go out of the house, like we get less interested in all the content of the thinking because we see it doesn't impact the light. This is who we really are. The space before any of these letters appear. And what we get to experience more and more and more and more the more we get to experience imagine this board has no edges, right? Just the unlimited nature of who we really are. The peace is the absence of the attention of all of this, the attention on all of this. It's the knowing that this is who we really are. It's the fundamental knowing that no matter what letters arise, no matter how often, in what shape or form, this is untouchable. This is unlimited freedom. This is unlimited. This is what I mean when I talk about my clients, that we look towards what it would be like to be lit up. Right? What would it be like to have your attention, to know that you are this and come from that space, rather than think that you are the mismatch of all of that? What if you didn't have to be sorting these out, juggling these, shuffling these, taking these to your coach, like, how do I do this one? 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 How can I change that one? How can I have that one be different? How can I change that thought? How can I change that feeling? How can I change that action? What if you didn't have to do that anymore? What if this first? And then this can come and go as it chooses. There's so much freedom, so much joy, so much love, so much freedom is the word that keeps coming to mind in the seeing of this more deeply. So until next week, I'll be back with you with another video.